I do not, sir. Everybody that's on here is just viewing. I don't have anybody on here that is trying to call in. No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. At this point, I've been randomly checking that because when I had you on before, I tried to get all the callers in that wanted to talk to you, and at this point I don't have any at the immediate moment.
Well, I originally advertised this as I was going to be on at 8:15, and then we changed it. I'm wondering if people called or went on and then thought that maybe I canceled or wasn't going to show up or something.
Yeah, I guess
that's what happened.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that are just viewing this as a view only. No one is waiting on the line, and I'm really surprised that Adam isn't on here because I tried to talk to him earlier today, and I was wanting to have him come on and talk with the two of us about the Patriots. I know he's a big Patriot fan, so I wanted to have him come on, but he must be busy this evening where he isn't able to come on here.
Okay, well, one thing I think we should probably talk about is Antonio Brown's situation.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. It's clearly a money grab.
That's what I believe, too. That's what I think.
It's fairly obvious.
I think she waited until he got signed and they knew that there was a chance that he could go to a Super Bowl and all that stuff and came out.
The timing is very strange as well. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories and all this and say that, a team was doing this. I can pose the questions that, yeah, it's weird. Who else? Okay, first of all, what team would know about this girl? The Pittsburgh Steelers know who she is because she was working on Antonio in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So, and not only that, if Antonio was in a relationship with her off and on, which it's clear that he was from the video evidence and from the way they seem to talk to each other, they clearly were in some kind of sexual relationship. Antonio can't keep his mouth shut, so of course the Steelers know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that aspect of it. Then you've got the Raiders. What he did to the Raiders was appalling. It was embarrassing. It was pathetic. Antonio Brown acted like the worst type of child.
Agreed.
And with all that said, he doesn't deserve to be accused of rape for it. Okay.
Right.
That's a different thing. That is a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
To not sit there and accuse people of something like that. It goes from football and acting like a diva wide receiver to now real life. Now you're talking about someone's livelihood. You're talking about someone's father who's could be labeled with that the rest of their life.
Correct.
And this is something that never goes away. And it's a serious matter. So whatever the reasons that this was done, it sounds like it's money motivated. Oh, it's always money motivated, but specifically she filed the minimum $75,000 is what's needed to file a civil lawsuit for that kind. But she's going to be wanting millions, of course. But she's also in debt. Antonio showed that she was in debt, and she had a tax lien against her and all this stuff. So, and she's getting married. Okay, so check this out. She's getting married. You're telling me the new fiance doesn't have anything to do with this? It almost makes you think that she told her new fiance that, yeah, she had sex. Maybe he found out that she had sex with Antonio. Maybe she was cheating, and then this was her excuse, and maybe she lied about it to him too, and he's wanting to pursue it. But who knows? There's a million scenarios that could be going down here. But I know that I just believe that Antonio is innocent of this. I absolutely believe that because it's just the situation is way too weird. And you know what? I'm going to be honest, man. If I was a woman and someone raped me or did anything against my will like that, the very moment I can get away, I'm going straight to the police.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Immediately.
Exactly.
Especially if it was someone famous.
Came up.
So you would go and do that. You would say something because you know that they really can't go after you too much because they're under a microscope. So.
Right. Correct. Correct.
But you don't go back 3 times, okay?
Right.
3 times. You go back twice. So supposedly it happens once, then you get back with him a second time, and then he apologizes or for whatever reason, and then you go back a third? Come on,
Right.
man. This case has got to be kicked out. It's absurd. So
Do you think that he plays this Sunday, or do you think that the Patriots wait until this all blows over before he starts in a Patriot uniform?
I absolutely have no idea. I can't even pull up film or much information on his practices. I mean, they are very quiet about this.
I know they've been hitting Tom and Bill. I mean, I've watched the press conferences. I try to watch Belichick press conferences and everything. And, first of all, Bill Belichick ain't going to give you anything anyway. He never does. I don't know why the media, in New England or Boston or whatever, they always ask him questions during the press conference that are not going to get answered. But yet they ask him. Well, I guess that's their job. I mean, that's fine. They're media. That's what they're supposed to do. But they know they're not going to get an answer out of him. So I'm really, really – it's odd sometimes. And you know that he's not going to give you any information on Antonio Brown. And Tom's going to go, you know what, I have no comment on that. Tom's not going to say anything either because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know the situation. But they're going to get asked because they're his teammates and his coach.
Well, let's look at it this way. If there was some truth to this, and if the Patriots felt like it's got some reality to it, they would have cut him already.
Correct.
They would have already dumped him. He wouldn't be practicing, that's for sure. He never would have made it to the practice field. He never even would have put on a Patriots helmet. So that never would have happened if they thought that this could be legit allegations. And first of all, because they would have felt that they got burned. They would have thought, okay, Antonio, you knew you did this and you didn't tell us about it. So they just for that reason alone, they would have cut him or at least shut him down for now. But then second of all, if they found out thought it was true, even if they thought it was 51% true, they wouldn't let him practice. So they clearly think it's complete bull crap because they're sitting there moving on as if so far we think they're moving on as if it never happened. So that should tell you something as well. And we know that Mr. Kraft doesn't tolerate sexual or domestic violence. It comes from his wife, Myra Kraft, who died about 9 years ago, but she was a big advocate against domestic violence. And so Mr. Kraft has kept that through, and of course we have those allegations against him that kind of disappeared. I don't even know what happened to that. But anyway, you would just think that they would want to send a message if they thought it was legit. So clearly they don't believe it's legit.
I'll be honest with you. I won't be surprised if you don't see him in a uniform on Sunday. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised one bit to see him suit up against the Dolphins this weekend. And if not this week, it'll be next week. Because like you said, had these allegations been true, he would never have been on the practice field, and yet he would never would have put on a Patriot uniform. To me, again, I agree with you. I don't condone sexual violence by any means of the imagination, but I agree with you. If someone gets raped, you should go to the police immediately. This crap with, I guess, again, I'm not a female, so I can't say this, but I guess they get scared. They don't want to report it. But if somebody was to hold you against your will like that, you need to go to the police, let them know immediately. And like you said, too, why would you go back a second and third time knowing that had happened to you? Why would you go back? So to me,
and
that was money. It's money driven. By far, that's what it
exactly.
is.
And I know that there are instances where women don't report to the police because sometimes they're in fear. Like that, it could be a guy who they know can harm them, or like psycho or something like that. There could, or they don't want anybody to know because they're embarrassed. And they don't want anyone knowing about it. So there's those factors. Okay, and I would consider that if this was a one-time incident. But she went back. She went back twice. Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that now there really is no excuse anymore. I mean, even the most feminist woman on the planet cannot defend that. Okay, you just can't defend that. There's no defense for that. So,
correct.
But like I said, first time, yeah, I can understand if you didn't go to anyone because maybe there's reasons because I've seen that happen. So,
Correct.
But like I said, first time, yeah, I can understand if you didn't go to that last, maybe there's reasons because I've seen that happen. So,
Yeah, that to me. I mean, like I said, it seemed like you said too. I haven't got a chance to go in and look at the backstory of it, but for her now to be getting married and her having a tax lien against her, this was and I hate to say this in a way, the right time to do this. And I hate to do that because you can tarnish someone's person in general when you say, oh, yeah, he did this and did that. But when you're, labeled a rapist, that never goes away, whether they did it or not. When you come out and say that about somebody, that never goes away. So it can tarnish someone's, person as they are, even though it may never have happened. And again, I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I don't know the whole story. But then again, if it did, why did you go back a second and third time when you could have just been a one time? If you got raped, okay, so you go and report it, and so be it. But again, maybe she was scared because, oh, he's Antonio Brown. He can make this disappear. Who knows what her exact thoughts were. But I agree with you. Like I said, I think if the Patriots knew ahead of time that this was a problem, he would have been cut. And that's, like I said, I also think in a weird way, if this whole situation with him, without the rape thing, if it doesn't work out, Belichick will be the first to cut him. Belichick is not afraid to cut players by any means of the imagination. If they don't fit the mold, the Patriot way, as they call it, they're gone.
Right.
I mean, yes, he helped Corey Dillon get back. He helped Randy Moss get back. The players like that. But, look at the ones that didn't make it. Albert Hainsworth was here. He didn't make it. There are a few of them that Belichick has had that have not made it. We won't know now until Brown gets on the field if this will work out. I think it will, because when you have Edelman, and to me, the big thing I think this year, and I was analyzing it last year, our running game is great. And James White is one of the, we were talking earlier about Christian McCaffrey. White is an amazing player. And I love Sony Michel. I got to watch him a lot because, again, I'm from the South, so he played for the Bulldogs, and I'm a Gators fan. Every year, Georgia played. I hated that because he ran all over the Gators. And to see, when the Patriots drafted him, I'm like, oh, my God, great. What a great pickup this guy is. And he has fit so well in that running game. And then you got Rex Burkhead on top of that. I mean, it's a versatile offense. Our defense played very well this past week. And like we talked earlier, this could be one of the best Patriot teams we've seen. And you know what? For the rest of the league, as they said last year, America's nightmare might be back. Well, shouldn't say back, but could be back even stronger than they were last year when they won it all.
Yeah, last year was supposedly one of our worst teams, but yet they win the whole thing. That's freaking scary, man. Now, I want to go back to James White you mentioned. James White's value on the Patriots, his actual value, is so high, it's comparable to other guys like Le'Veon Bell and people like that as far as value goes. And what I mean by that is if you take James White off the Patriots, then maybe he's not so I'm not saying he's Le'Veon Bell type where he could go anywhere and be like that. But I'm just talking about strictly value for where he's at. And the value that we get out of him on the Patriots, on the field with Tom, and what he's done in the past and what he's going to do in the future, his value is sky high. He's fantastic. He's amazing. It's just we saw what Shane Vereen did in Super Bowl 49, and then he went off to the Giants and disappeared. So of course, I don't want anybody sitting there quoting me and saying, "Oh, Aaron thinks that James White is as good as Le'Veon Bell." That's not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about value.
Right.
And
hello.
When you talk, so.
Hello.
I have someone on. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.